Hey everyone, we are on to part 2 of our multi-digit operations with decimals lesson, and we are going to be multiplying now. When we multiply multi-digit decimals, we are going to actually count the decimal places that are present in each number. Then we're going to take those away, and we're going to act like they don't exist for a little bit. We're going to multiply the numbers, and then we're going to put the decimals back in. So instead of having to worry about how do we line up the numbers? Do the decimals have to be lined up? We're just going to take the decimal idea out of it for a little bit, do our multiplication, and then put those decimals back in. So in this first number, or this first set of numbers, I'm going to look at 0.014. And that has 3 decimal places. 3.7 has 1 decimal place. So 0.14 is 3 decimal places, and then the 0.7 is 1 decimal place. So I've got 4 places all together. That means after I'm done multiplying, I need to put 4 decimal places back into my number. So now I'm actually going to do the multiplication. And I am going to multiply those numbers as if the decimals don't exist. So I'm going to multiply 14 times 37. The order of multiplication does not matter, so if you prefer the larger number on top, that is completely up to you. So I'm going to do my multi-digit multiplication. So 7 times 4 is 28. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 2 is 9. Now I have to move over a place value, so I'm going to put a 0. 3 times 4 is 12, and I'm going to carry the 1. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 more is 4. And now I'm going to add those two things together. So 8 plus 0 is 8, 9 plus 2 is 11. I'm going to carry the 1, and 4 plus 1 is 5. And now I'm going to put my decimal back in. So the decimal is at the end of the number when it first starts. So it's going to be here at the end. And I'm going to move it 4 places to the left to show that my decimal is in there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So my new decimal is here, and in this empty space, I'm going to put a 0. So my answer is 0.0518. So the most important part of this is that you count the decimal places correctly and that you put them back in at the end, because you do need that decimal point in there at the end. So in part B, I've got 0.067. That's going to be 3 decimal places. And then 1.42 is going to be 2 decimal places. So I've got 5 places all together. And now I can multiply the numbers. 67 times 142. In this one, I'm going to put the 142 on top, just because I like to see more digits on the top versus on the bottom. So 7 times 2 is 14. I'm going to carry the 1. 7 times 4 is 28, plus 1 is 29. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 2 is 9. And I'm going to move over 1. 6 times 2 is 12. Carry the 1. 6 times 4 is 24, plus 1 is 25. And 6 times 1 is 6, plus 2 is 8. And I add. So 4 plus 0 is 4, 9 plus 2 is 11, 9 plus 5 is 14, plus 1 is 15, and 8 plus 1 is 9. And now I'm going to put my 5 decimal places back in. So here's my decimal, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to add that 0 again in this case. So my answer is going to be 0.09514. In my last one, 14.7 has a 1 decimal place, and 11.361 has 3 decimal places. So I've got 4 altogether. And the same thing on this one, I'm going to put the one with more digits on top. So it's going to be 11,361 times 147. So lots of multiplication in this one. 7 times 1 is 7. 7 times 6 is 42. Carry the 4. 7 times 3 is 21, plus 4 is 25. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 2 is 9, and 7 times 1 is 7. I'm going to move over a place value. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 6 is 24. I'm going to carry the 2. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 2 is 14, and I'm going to carry the 1. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5, and 4 times 1 is 4. Now I've got to go 2 decimal places, 1, 2, and I'm multiplying by 1. So 1 times 1 is 1, 1 times 6 is 6, 1 times 3 is 3, 1 times 1 is 1, and 1 times 1 is 1. So now I'm going to do my addition. 7 plus 0 is 7, 2 plus 4 is 6, 5 plus 4 is 9, plus 1 is 10, 1 plus 9 is 10, plus 4 is 14, plus 6 is 20, 7 plus 2 is 9, plus 5 is 14, plus 3 is 17, 1 plus 4 is 5, plus 1 is 6, and then 1. And then I've got to put in 4 decimal places. So I've got 4 here this time. So here is my decimal at the end. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So no extra zeros being added here. I'm going to keep the whole number. So 167.0067. So now we're going to take the multiplication that we've done here and combine it with the addition and subtraction for the apply problem here down at the bottom. So this says the table shows the cost of produce per pound at a farmer's market. Mr. Gonzalez bought 0.75 pounds of pears and 3.5 pounds of plums. If he paid for his fruit with a $10 bill, how much change will he receive? Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out the total cost of each of the things that he bought. So I'm going to have 0.75 times the pears, which were 98 cents. And then I'm going to have the plums, which is going to be 3.5 times 1.49. So for the pears, I'm going to have 4 decimal places, because each number has 2. And then over here, I'm going to have 3 places because the first number has 1 and the second number has 2. So now I can do my multiplication. So I'm going to do 75 times 98. And over here, I'm going to do 149 times 35. So 8 times 5 is 40. 8 times 7 is 56, plus 4 is 60. 9 times 8 is 45. 9 times 5 is 45. Carry the 4. 9 times 7 is 63, plus 4 is 67. So I'm going to add 0 plus 0 is 0. 5 plus 0 is 5. 6 plus 7 is 13. And 6 plus 1 is 7. And I'm going to move 4 decimal places. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then in this situation, because my answer is 0.735, but money is 2 decimal places, I have to round my answer. So I'm actually going to round it to this second decimal place. So it's actually going to be 74. Okay, so this is going to be 74 cents. Now I'm going to do my other multiplication. So 5 times 9 is 45. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 4 is 24. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7. I move over. 3 times 9 is 27. So carry the 2. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 2 is 14. So I'm going to carry a 1. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. Now I can add. 5 plus 0 is 5. 4 plus 7 is 11. 4 plus 7 is 11, plus 1 is 12. And 4 plus 1 is 5. And then I've got to do 3 decimal places on this one. So 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to have 5.215, and then the same thing happens on this one. I have to round. So I get $5.22 because the 5 is going to make me round up. Now I've got to figure out the total cost. Well, the total cost is going to be to add those two things together. So I'm going to do 522 plus 0.74, lining up those decimals. So 6, 9, and 5, so 596. And then the last thing I have to do to figure out how much change he will get, I have to do 10 minus what he paid for the fruit. So $10 is going to be 10.00 minus 5.96. So 0 and 10, this becomes a 9, this becomes a 9, and this becomes a 10. So 10 minus 6 is 4, 9 minus 9 is 0, and 9 minus 5 is 4. So he will receive $4.04 back. So 404 in change. And we'll highlight that so we know that's the answer. So that one was a multi-step problem where we had to use all of the operations that we've done so far. I had to do multiplication to figure out the total cost of the fruit. I had to add to find the total combined cost of all of the fruit, and then subtract to figure out how much change he would get, and he would get $4.04 in change. So that is an example of how we can use all of these operations together.